Some time ago, we did a review of a Land Rover Discovery Sport, and it started like this.
Matt, what are you doing? I thought we're doing disco sport today.
We are. Oh, what are you wearing?
Sorry, I thought that...
You thought what?
Well, you said disco sport, like aerobics. I'll get changed.
Ah, the japes we have. Anyway, if that's the sport, that makes this one the non-sport, which means it's the bigger one, the inference being that big things can't be sporty. And the Discovery non-sport is indeed a car built very much for comfort rather than speed. It's one of the most comfortable cars on the planet, which also means it's softer than this penalty.
Que só não conseguiu. Embaixo veio pé para fazer a falta. Tropeçou no.
So if you're after something even marginally engaging to drive, this is not it. Having said that, it depends on how you look at the whole concept of driver engagement. Like if for you, engagement means that tangible connection between your hands and your backside in the road, you know, good body control, pinpoint steering feel, that sort of thing. Then this roly-poly whale of a car is not remotely engaging. But if your sort of engagement is an innate feeling of king-like tranquility and mitigatory smoothness, then this here is the driving experience for you. You climb up into a Discovery and then from that point look down upon a plane of existence that you've become detached from. And that, people, is what you're paying all this money for. Yeah? 46 grand before you've ticked any boxes on the options list. And while you could get away with a base model car, what with it being okay in the spec department, you're really going to want an SE. That jump in price is significant, true, but for that you add in nav and leather and proper climate control and a few other things that tip this into posh car territory. Everything beyond that is just showing off, really. It doesn't matter what you pay for one of these, the core strengths remain. Those being imperious off-road ability and, arguably more importantly, 7-seat layout. See, together they equal a car whose all-round ability is pretty much unmatched. And they're the reasons why Land Rover calls this car its centre of gravity, as in the very essence of what Land Rover is supposed to be. Although saying that, this does pretty much have its own centre of gravity. It's massive. Which you'll discover in no uncertain terms the first time you try and put it into a normal sized parking space. But its colossal dimensions mean that it's got space to spare. The middle row has tons of leg and shoulder room, and the boot is so vast that there's a couple of extra chairs in there. In fact, the boot capacity is not far off the maximum capacity of a Vauxhall Astra's boot when you fold the rear seats down. And if you fold the Discovery's middle bench down, you've got van-like space to play with. Would you play with it? Use it. You fold all the seats down electrically too. It's also awash with practical storage solutions, like this deep storage bin that you can store almost your entire arm in, and there are 2 boxes over on the passenger side, one for each glove. And this panel here with the heater controls on can be opened, and it's not just another storage space, it's also a gateway to the past because there's something called a CD player behind there, which means I finally get to play this. The Discovery's always been good off-road. See, here's the original one in 1989 being good off-road. The last one was brilliant off-road too. And despite being very much the luxury car now, and it really is a luxury car now, this is the best off-roady Discovery there's ever been. The shift into posh territory has not come at the expense of all-terrain ability. Why? Well, it's got more ground clearance than ever and a better wading depth. And the standard all-terrain knob, which alters the damping and the 4-wheel drive systems apt to the sort of ground that you're on, is improved. And it's lighter, not just by a little bit, but by more than 1,000 pounds. That's stupid weight loss, right? It should have its own weight loss DVD, and then get papped on a beach looking fat, and then get fat shamed on Twitter. Where was I again? The vast majority of that weight loss comes because the Discovery now uses the same aluminum chassis as the Range Rover Sport. Now that helps in all manner of ways, not just off-road agility and on-road handling. This is soggy, but it is actually a lot better than the last Discovery was. It also means it's far more efficient, which means it can use smaller engines, specifically a 2-litre diesel engine. It's not the most refined thing or the quickest, but it does mean that if you buy a base model Discovery, it'll come packing a 43 miles per gallon 43 miles per gallon average economy rating. Not the 2-litre petrol mind, that can't even muster 30 miles per gallon. And it's not that much quicker. Actually, if you want your Disco to feel more energetic, you're far better off going for the 3-litre diesel, which has 6 cylinders and is therefore much more refined. That Land Rover 2-litre diesel's horrible anyway. The performance jump on paper isn't huge, right? But it's just a much more refined, much more enjoyable experience in general. All Discoveries get an 8-speed auto though. It's not quite as snappy as the twin clutch stuff that the Germans put in their 4x4s, but once you get going, it's nice and smooth, and it really does suit the character of this car really well. Which is a good point to talk about the difference between this and the other stuff that you might be considering. For a start, if you look at the prices, then all of a sudden the Discovery looks like good value. Now the top end prices there are skewed by the fact that the Germans tend to do a mega fast version of their 4x4s, which Land Rover doesn't with the Discovery. And actually, that fact tells you something about the difference in character between this and the German stuff generally. They all corner better, feel a bit more hunkered down, and generally are a bit more engaging in the traditional sense. And they look better. Now I know that aesthetics are a subjective quality, but they do. Look at the state of this back end. It looks like they forgot to tab the number plate across. In fact, the back end is so ugly that there are companies that will sort it out for you. It is, of course, a nod to the old Discoveries. They were that way to accommodate a tailgate mounted spare wheel, which you can't get with this one. The split tailgate's gone too, which used to make dropping smaller stuff into the boot a bit easier. And beyond that, the whole thing has a strangely thin, tall, arse-heavy vibe. It's just a bit clumsy, and the interior's a bit uninspiring as well. But you might like the simplicity of the interior, and you might even like arse-ugly 4x4s. In which case, you will love this because it is, almost without doubt, the most complete SUV on sale today. A massive and very posh Defender, if you like. Or a good price Range Rover, if you like that instead. Thanks for watching. There's a more complete review over at HonestJohn.co.uk as ever. And please leave a like and a comment below. See ya.